So all of you know that the equity market has two segments. One is your primary market, other one is the secondary market. The primary market part I will come a little later, because the most important market we have, that is the secondary market. So the secondary market, generally whatever issues are offered in the primary market, these are basically coming to the stock exchange or coming to the stock market through this secondary market operations. And here the securities are traded, cleared and settled within this regulatory framework which is prescribed by the exchanges, particularly the stock exchanges and the SEBI. And in general, we have mostly nowadays the market is operated through the exchange traded market only. But we have also the over-the-counter market, which was there before. Largely, that only that market was existing in the system. But mostly now, the almost all the equity market are exchange traded. And the security market operations, the major stakeholder or major, we can say that participant, is the stock exchanges. So if you look at, there are around 20 organized stock exchanges exist in India. Mostly the regional stock exchanges we are talking about, but the prominent stock exchanges are basically the Bombay Stock Exchange and the National Stock Exchange, BSE and NSE. That already you know. And BSE was it is the Asia's first stock exchange, which was established in 1875. And the most popular index what the BSE basically use or we generally always look at, that your BSE Sensex. And NSE, which was basically promoted by certain leading financial institutions on behalf of the government of India, was incorporated in November 1992. And the most popular index what NSE has, that is, we call it the CNX Nifty. So mostly we always track these two indices. One is your BSE Sensex and another one is NSE Nifty. In short, we call it the NSE Nifty. These are the two different indices which are used to track this particular market. But the question here is that, what is the objective of that particular indices and how these particular indices are constructed? So if you look at, whenever you go for any kind of stock market indices, what is the objective? To basically this return what we get it from these particular indices, looking at the performance, you can say that where you stand as an investor. If you are investing, let your stock index is giving 10% return and you are getting 12% return, that means you can say that your performance is better than the market performance. Or if you are getting less return, then we can say that my performance is in comparison to the market performance, I am not that way performing in the market. So that's why the basic objective is to construct one benchmark kind of performance indicator, where these other investors can use it or individual investors can use it. By that, they can use it for their, or they can compare it with their own performance. And as well as if you want to predict the market, then this prediction also can be possible through this performance of the indices or the value of these indices. So that is the basic objective of the stock market indices. Then what are those factors which are affecting the construction of the stock market index? First of all, the sample whatever you are considering, because the whatever index you are constructing, that index does not constitute all the stocks or all the kind of observations which are available in the system. That's why we have to choose those samples which can be the representative of the total population. So we can consider they are the real representative of the total population. Then we have to choose the sample accordingly. And we have to also consider a base year and a base value. The base year means it should be a normal year. What do we mean by the normal year? The normal year means there should not be any kind of uneven situations or a kind of unique situations which have occurred, like financial crisis, like liberalizations. So all kind of, or any kind of, for example, if you consider about the in today's context, you cannot consider 2020 as a base year because we are suffering from a serious pandemic in that particular time. So that's why the base year should be reasonably a normal year. And the sample, whatever you are considering, that sample should be the representative of the total population. And the third thing we need, that whenever you have chosen this particular kind of stocks or particular kind of entities which can be included as a part of the index, what are those weighing criteria? So there are different ways these weights are given. You can give equal weights to all the stocks or all kind of observations, whatever you have added in your sample. This weights also can be given on the basis of the price of the stock. It can be given on the basis of the market value of the stocks, or it can be also given, recently we have used it, that is called the free float market capitalization, which is basically talks about the market capitalization of the particular stock or particular company, or the percentage of the market capitalization shares, and out of the 5,000 shares, if you observe, only the 3,000 shares are traded in the market, and 2,000 shares are almost over the period of time is not basically active in the market for the trading. So in that case, we have to consider only the 3 by 5, that is basically your 60%. So your free float factor will be 0.6. So the market capitalization, whatever you are considering, that multiplied by the 0.6, that will give you the free float market capitalization. So these are the different weighing criteria what the basically this stock exchanges use while constructing their index. I will little bit tell about more on free float market capitalization. Whenever we consider the free float market capitalization, it takes into consideration only those shares issued by the company which are readily available for the trading. It generally excludes the promoters holding, government holding, or any kind of strategic holding they have. There is a lock-in period for that particular stocks. So those stocks cannot be traded in the market at a particular point of time, or the common investors cannot participate in that particular stock. So this excludes any kind of specific criteria. So that's why the percentage of these particular stocks which are a part of this, so that basically we will exclude from that particular calculations. So that's why the market capitalization of each company in a free float index is reduced to the extent of its readily available shares in the market, the shares which are available to everybody. So that is the way basically the free float market capitalization is. Market capitalization is nothing but the price multiplied by the number of shares. So out of them, what is the percentage of the shares which are basically readily available for the investment in the market? That basically we consider while calculating the free float market capitalization. That is what basically we have to always see. Now coming back to the construction of the index, how this index is calculated. So whenever you talk about this construction of the index, so if you see this example, there is an index what we are considering. There are 3 stocks A, B, C. So let the number of for the stocks available with respect to A is 60,000, for B it is 20,000, for C it is 90,000. and the base year price is given, that is 30, 25, 65, and the current price is let 45, 80, 85. And we have also given this free float factor 0.55 for company A or stock A, 0.75 for company B, and 0.95 for company C. So if you are going to give the equal weights to all the three stocks, then how the weights can be calculated, how the particular value can be calculated, or the multiplier can be calculated. That is nothing but your 45 by 30 plus 80 by 25 plus 85 by 65 divided by 3. That is 1 by 3 into 45 by 30 plus 80 by 25 plus 85 by 65. That will give you 2.0033. Then what this 2.0033 implies? Anybody? Yes? Priyansa? Priyansa?
Yes, sir. I asked, can you repeat the question?
If you get a value of 2.0033, what this 2.0033 implies? Ravi?
Sir, are we talking about like value of bond?
No, no. तुम अभी जो स्लाइड्स दिखाया तुमको, have you seen that? I am talking about the construction of the index.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
I told this 2.0033 value, whatever you got, how are you going to interpret that particular 2.0033? If you are giving equal weights to all the stocks, whatever you have considered, then it is the 45 by 30, then current price divided by your base price, plus the another stock's current price divided by the base price, plus another stock's current price divided by the base price divided by the total number of stocks, that is basically 3 we have taken. So we found a value of 2.0033. Then what this 2.003, how we are going to use it?
So we can consider it as the like market.
Okay. So that 2.0033, you have a base price?
Yes, sir, like I understand, but I'm not able to elaborate.
Okay, fine. So if the base value of that particular index is 100, then the current value of the index will be 100 multiplied by 2.0033. That means it is 200.33. Right?
Yes.
Below it is written, if the base value of the index has been taken as 100, then the current year, in the current year, the value of the index using different weighing series will be as follows. So if you are giving the equal weights, then you will get 2.0033. If you are going for a price weight, then it is nothing but the 45 plus 80 plus 85 divided by 30 plus 25 plus 65. That will give you 1.75. If you are going for the market value weighted series, then you have to find out the market value of this particular stocks or market capitalization of the particular stocks in 2 periods. 60,000 multiplied by 45 plus 20,000 multiplied by 80 plus 90,000 multiplied by 85 divided by the 60,000 multiplied by 30 plus 20,000 multiplied by 25 plus 90,000 multiplied by 65. It will give you 1.46. So if you go for
could you elaborate a bit on base year price, what that actually represents?
So whenever any stock index basically is started, you are talking about this 30, 25, 65 or what?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me give you the another slide, then I will explain through that. Let BSE Sensex, right? The BSE Sensex The base year was considered 1978-79, right, Ravi? 78-79
Yes,
is the base year. So in that particular year, there are in BSE Sensex there are number of stocks are 30, right? So what happens that these 30 stocks is considered in that particular index, and in the 78-79, what is the market price of that particular 30 stocks? Okay, fine. And they have assumed that, or it is considered the base value of the particular index in 78-79 is 100. You got my point?
yes, sir. It is basically the current value at that point. I mean,
Ha,
during that particular base year.
that particular base year, right? So they have started with 100, and accordingly in the today's time period, whatever value we are getting, that is basically with respect to that particular base year, we are calculating what is this value of that particular index. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. It is clear.
So now what you have seen, that whenever your weighing criteria is changing, the value of that particular index is also changing.
Sir,
So
isn't the base year changed in some period of time? Like it will be changed after 10 years or something
no, no,
like
no,
that.
no, no,
Doesn't that happen?
no. The base year basically they don't change it unless there is any specific requirement. The base year for the index calculation in the stock market does not change. You just see.
Sir, so like it won't be that. So I think sir, if we consider in case of inflation, then we consider some base year before 10 years, so that we can compare how much it has changed in 10 years. But if we don't change the base year, then we are comparing for so many years. So how will that be meaningful?
It is meaningful because what example you have given, that inflation is a different kind of indicator, and the stock market basically okay, answering to your question, I can tell you that if you take the bigger investors in India, for example Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, I was going through a interview with him. Whenever he has started investing in the market, the value of that particular Sensex was 150. Whenever he started investing in the market, the value of the Sensex is 150. And now what is the value of the Sensex? कितना है? BSE Sensex का value कितना है?
Sir, Google में 60,000 दिखा है.
Close to 60. हाँ, बोलो रे? कितना है?
60,287.
68,000.
60,000.
60,000. So you just imagine, whenever he started investing in 90s, particularly in the period of 80. So in that case, what basically we have seen that in that time the index value was 150. Now the index value is what we call it 60,000. Then what is the multiplier here? कितना हुआ है? 60,000 divided by 100.
Around 60
400 times, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So 400. So that means if somebody roughly has started investing with a rupees of 1 lakh rupees in that particular time, what is the value of the investment now? What is the total worth of that?
Sir, it is 4,000 times.
It is 4,000. 60,000 divided by 150, it is 400, right? Now 4,000 कितना है? रवि? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, 4,000. No, sir, 400 only.
400.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Sir,
400.
so
It is
1 lakh
400.
will be 4 crore.
Yeah, 4 crore. That means what basically you can see, if you have started investing of rupees 1 lakh, the value of that particular money in that particular, in today's context, it will be the 4 crore rupees. Even if you don't do anything in the market, active trading, if you are not doing it also. If you are a passive investor, if you have started investing of the 1 crore rupees, 1 lakh rupees, then the value of that particular investment will give you after maybe 30 years down the line will be the 4 crore rupees. So that is the general kind of calculations, whatever we are showing. But there is no need to compare how that performance has gone up. You can always compare with respect to the price of that particular year, particular kind of, let you want to compare the return with respect to 2010. So 2010 also there is an index value. Priyansa, 2010 also there is an index value. So
Yes, sir.
2021 you have index value. You can compare always with respect to that. But
Yes,
in
sir. Yes, sir. I got it.
terms of the return, always that will give you some useful insight in terms of the value addition whatever you have made. Okay, there are many stock exchanges across the globe. I have just taken some major stock exchanges to show you some examples. If you see this BSE Sensex, which has the 30 stocks, base year is 78, 79. The base value is 100. Previously, these weights are given on the basis of the market capitalization, but since September 2003, it uses the free float methodology. The weights are given on the basis of the particular stocks which are really liquid in nature. So they have given importance to the readily available stocks to the investors. CNX Nifty, 50 stocks. The base year is 1995. And here the base value is 1000. And it also uses the free float methodology. It started previously it was using the market capitalization or the methodology only, but nowadays they're using the free float methodology. DJIJ, Dow Jones in US, they have also 30 stocks. The base year is 1938. The base value is 100, and they are using the free float methodology. Standard & Poor Composite S&P, they have the 500 stocks. 41, 42 is the base year. Base value is 10. And they are using the value weighted series. That means the market capitalization is considered to give the weights. NYSE, this New York Stock Exchange, they have 2,818 number of companies have been considered for that. 1965 they have considered as the base year, and the base value is 50, and they are still using the value weighted series. So depending upon the weights and all these things, basically you can always compare that how this particular stock is basically performing in the market, or index is performing in the market. So I have just given you a kind of interpretation how we can read the stock price and stock index quotations from the newspapers or from other sources, wherever you have the kind of information about this. Let here these are the actual data. Let in 2014 the CNX Nifty, our Nifty, date is 13 June 2014. The market whenever was open on that day, the index value was 7535.05, and in that particular day the price has, or the index value has gone up to 7623.65 maximum, and it has also come down the 7531.6 on that particular day, and it has closed in the end of the trading of that particular day, that is 7611.35. okay, closing price was 7611.35. The traded volume is this much. The value of the trades, how many shares are traded in the particular market. The value of the trades in terms of the crores is this. I've given you the price earning ratio, price to book ratio, the dividend yield. And in 1 year, what is the maximum price? That's why it is called 52 weeks high of the index. And what was the 52 weeks low? And below is the SBI, the State Bank of India stock on that particular day. So this is what basically the data, what basically we have provided. So that's why the column 1 basically shows the name of the company, column 2 the date, and column 3 giving you the open price, which is first trade on that particular day. 4 and 5, it is basically gives you the price range at which the stock has traded at throughout the day, or these are the maximum and minimum prices that investors have to pay for the stock. And column 6 basically gives you the closing price, when the last trading price recorded when the market closed on that particular day. 7, it gives you the total number of shares traded for the day, and the 8 is total value of the trades, and the others are basically the ratios. Yes. Are you there? Nitin? Nitin, are you there?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So then, whenever you go to the market, any market across the globe, you have broadly we categorize them 2 types of investors. One is investors, what we call it in the true sense. The investors are basically always stay in the market for a longer period of time. So their investment horizon period is relatively longer. So we call them investors. And there are certain kind of individuals or certain kind of entities or market participants who are basically called as the traders. They generally always go for frequent buying and selling of the stocks, because their objective is generating returns or more than the returns what they receive from the buy and hold strategy. That means you go for a long period of time and you hold the stocks for a long period of time, and whatever return you get. So these investors look for the opportunity, and that's why they go for frequently changing their positions. So we call them the traders. So on the basis of their positions or investment horizon period, we have the different type of traders we get in the market. We have a position trader. These kind of traders basically take the positions from months to years. They change the positions only across the months or across the years. Relatively longer time trader. The swing traders, the positions are held from days to weeks. They change the positions across the weeks or across the dates. Across the days. Then the day trader, the positions are held throughout the day and no overnight positions. And there is a scalp traders. These are basically those people change their positions in seconds and no overnight positions. Every second they change their position, means some stocks they buy, some stocks they sell. They change the positions frequently. There basically we call them the scalpers or the scalp traders, basically what we call it. So within the time frame, depending upon their positions across the time, we can also categorize this kind of traders in the market. Then we look at the liquidity part. The stock market is said to be liquid if the traders can quickly buy or sell the large number of shares with minimum impact on the price. or cost or the delay. So that means I can, without any hassle, I can quickly buy or sell the stocks in the market. That should not be any kind of problem. Or my cost also will be relatively low whenever I am taking the positions. Then I can say that the market is liquid. That's why liquidity has been a multi-dimensional concept. So it can be measured through width of the market, through depth of the market, immediacy of the market, and the resiliency of the market. So there are various ways this liquidity dimensions have been considered. Already we know that bid and ask, the price what this seller asks for and the price what this buyer wants to pay. That is basically, we call it the ask price and the bid price. What is the difference between them? That is called the spread. So larger the spread, lower the liquidity. So bid ask spread basically measures the width of the market. So the bid ask spread is low, then we can say that the market is more liquid. That's why there is not much information gap between the buyer and sellers, and it is basically transaction cost in the market is relatively low. Because of that, the investors are ready to invest in that particular market easily. We have depth. It is the number of shares what can be traded in a particular time with a given bid and ask price. Trading volume, basically what we call it. So if the market is more liquid, then the volume of trade will increase. If market is less liquid, then the volume of trade will be less. So that basically measures the depth of the market. Then we have immediacy. How quickly you can trade in the market at a given cost. That basically the concept of immediacy. Then we have the resiliency. That means how fast the prices basically revert to the former levels after the change in response to the large order flow imbalances initiated by the uninformed traders. Sometimes what happens, because of some information gap or some sentimental factor, some rumors, some people basically take a very large position in the market. So either they buy or sell. If they will sell largely, then the price will basically go down drastically. If they will buy a large slot, then the price will go up drastically. But that is not the actual price which is reflected. That is because of certain kind of noise. So how much time it takes to correct that particular price, or the price is coming back to the original price. So that is basically, if this is done very quickly, then we can say that the market is resilient. So then if the market is resilient, we can say that the market is more liquid. So that is the way the liquidity can be defined with respect to the stock market. In across the globe, we have two types of trading system. We have an order-driven market. We have a quote-driven market. In the order-driven market, basically what happens that it will display all the bid and ask by the investors. But in the quote-driven market, this only focus on the bid and ask of the market makers. Market makers are basically the bigger investors, institutional investors. So in an order-driven market, there is no guarantee of the order execution. But in the quote-driven market, there is the guarantee that your order will be executed on that particular day or on that particular time. In India, we have an order-driven market. That means everybody's order is recorded, and whenever there is a matching of the order, then your order will be. For example, somebody wants to buy the stock at a price of 50, and somebody wants to sell the stock at a price of 50, then the order will match, then the execution will be done. But if you are ready to buy the stock at a price of 50, but nobody is there to sell the stock at a price of 50, then the order will not be executed. That's why there is no guarantee in the order-driven market. Then we have different type of orders. We have a limit order. That means here the investor basically allows the price to be specified while entering the order into the system. You have given the basically limit that, okay, if the price is below 50, then I am ready to buy. If the price is above 60, then I'm ready to sell. So you have given the limit from the beginning, and on the basis of the price, your order will be executed in the market. Before that, unless the price reaches that particular limit, then your system will not basically is going to activate that particular kind of orders. Then market price means an order to buy or sell securities at the best price obtainable at the time of entering the order. You can say that, okay, there is no such kind of limit I'm giving, but you give me the best price. Best price means the lowest price at which you are ready to buy and the highest price at which you are ready to sell on that particular time. So that basically is called the market order. Then the stop loss order, basically what? This allows the trading member to place an order which gets activated only when the market price of the relevant security reaches or crosses a threshold price. Until then, the order basically does not enter the market. Up to that time, the order will not be executed. And once this particular price is above that or below this, depending upon your positions, then your order will be executed. Then we have a concept called the margin trading. And what is the margin trading? The margin trading is basically what? Let you want to invest in a stock and you don't have enough money. If you don't have enough money, then what you will do? Definitely, what basically people do, people basically go and borrow the money from the broker. So if you want to borrow the money from the broker, then what will happen? The broker basically will not give you the money in that way. That means you have to put some money in the stock itself. Then the broker will give you some money. So that's why the investors should open the account, which is called the margin account, with their broker and put some cash as collateral. And then the initial deposit is referred to as initial margin. That means how much money you are putting in the particular stocks. And at every point of time, you have to record a maintenance margin, which is the minimum amount of the margin that they must maintain as a percentage of the stock's value. And if at any point of time your maintenance margin will basically, your actual margin will go below this maintenance margin, then you can get a margin call. I'll just explain with a numerical example, then we can start this, complete this discussion. So here, if you see, there are 4 concepts, whatever we have discussed here. One concept is basically what we call it, the initial margin. Other one is the actual margin. Then the other things I have told you, that is basically what we call it, the margin call. Okay, initial margin, and there is a maintenance margin. There is a maintenance margin. There is a what we call it, this actual margin. There is an initial margin, and there is a margin call. So I will just stop it. I will open this whiteboard to you. I'll just tell you that what exactly we mean here. Is it visible? Hello? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Whiteboard is there.
Okay. So there is a stock. The stock price is, let 100 rupees. And you want to buy, let 100 stocks. Then the total price of the stock will be 100 into 1000. 100 into 100, that is the 10,000. So now you want to invest you have 5,000 rupees and you have borrowed 5,000 rupees from your broker. So that means your initial margin is whatever initial margin here, the initial margin is basically 5,000. You have put 5,000 in that particular stocks. So this is nothing but the amount of money investor puts up. Investor basically puts up on the stock divided by the total value of the transactions. Then let, for example, the price of the stock has come down to 90. Then the total value of transaction become 100 into 90, that is 9,000. Then your actual margin has become how much, Ray? Current value of the securities, that is 9,000. How much money you have borrowed? That is 5,000 divided by the 9,000. Right? Then what basically will happen? The investor has said at any point of time, the actual margin should not below this maintenance margin. Should not below the maintenance margin. Then what is maintenance margin? The investor or the broker has put a maintenance margin let of 30%. That means the actual margin, whatever way we are calculating, it is how much percentage? 9,000 minus 5,000 divided by 90,000. कितना हो रहा है? Yes.
0.44.
44.44, right?
Yes,
Am I
sir.
right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. 44.4.
So let the maintenance margin, the broker has put 30%. So if the maintenance margin, the broker has put 30%, then still this actual margin is above than the maintenance margin. Then you will not get a margin call to deposit the money or to the brokerage account. But the price has come down to 70. Then what will be the actual margin? It is 7,000 minus 5,000 divided by 7,000. कितना हुआ? How much it is?
22.22.
22.28, right? 28 हुआ ना रे? Am I correct? 28.57?
Yes, sir. 28.57. Yeah.
28.57%. Now, this 28.57 is less than this 30%. What this investor or the broker has fixed. At any point of time, the actual margin should not be below this maintenance margin. So if it is now the 28.57 is below this maintenance margin, then obviously this investor will get a margin call. The investor will get a margin call. That means the rest of the money you have to deposit in the brokerage account. The shortage of 1 point something, that particular money has to be deposited in the brokerage account. By that, this particular percentage will reach to this maintenance margin. So if you want to calculate that what price this investor will get a margin call from the broker, then the margin call will be your money, whatever money you have borrowed, the amount basically borrowed, divided by the number of shares into 1 minus the maintenance margin. Maintenance margin. So that means here we have borrowed 5,000. Number of shares is 100. 1 minus maintenance margin means maintenance margin is 0.3. Then it is 0.7. Then what is the price? At what price this investor will get a margin call? $5,000 divided by कितना है? 70. Right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. 71.42.
71.42. So if the price is going below this 71.42, then definitely if the stock price is moving below this 71.42, then this investor will get a margin call. and the extra amount of money has to be deposited in the brokerage account. So that is what basically what we call it, the margin trading. Okay, we our time is already up. We can close the session here. And